Ferrari are arriving in Monza in front of their own fans, prepared with an upgrade package that is aimed to put them in a very competitive position after the devastating weekend in Zandvoort. The team is now looking to bounce back stronger than ever, and the rear wing will play a key part in that mission in the Temple of Speed. Can Ferrari and Leclerc recreate last year's scenario? And how will this upgrade affect Hamilton's mission of pushing through the field due to the 5-place grid penalty? There is no doubt that Ferrari has a lot on their shoulders when it comes to Monza. It's their home race, one they won last year with a maestro one-stop strategy. But this year, things have changed. The conceptual change of the car put Ferrari in a worse situation compared to last year, and therefore expectations have lowered for their performance throughout the year. Nevertheless, when you're performing in front of the Tifosi, the pressure should feel capable. And in order to prepare for that, Ferrari has a new spec rear wing. What's also very interesting to note is that the Maranello base squad has 2 different rear wings with 2 different specifications. So they won't leave anything to chance. Enrico Cardile is still in charge of the technical direction despite his contractual obligation with Aston Martin. And therefore, for 2025, Ferrari has prepared the aerodynamic setup of its car in a very extreme way. The SF-25's rear wing should remind us a lot of its predecessor when it comes to the Monza configuration and setup. But there will be a second option, one in an even more trimmed configuration. That is risky to say the least in many aspects, because when you think of Monza, the first thing that comes to mind is pure speed and low downforce. That is why Ferrari has decided to come up with a rear wing that's more trim. It's highly unlikely this will be the first choice of the team, but it's an extra weapon they could bank on when it comes to efficiency on the straights. This circuit sees the cars at full throttle for approximately 70 to 84% of the lap, with the average being around 80%. Therefore, the rear wing specification will be massively important in order to put in some competitive laps. Although Ferrari is usually a team that's used as a laughingstock in the world of Formula One, this time they seem to have done the right thing to ensure the reliability of the project. The team retained a departing engineer responsible for wing development and CFD aero to assist with potential issues that may arise during FIA tests in Monza. The free practice sessions will be generally focused on comparing the new wing's performance, especially the second, more trimmed one, to the first, the one used last year. Expect a lot of Flovis paint because Ferrari does not joke around when it comes to Monza. This second version, the more extreme one, means that the chord and the angle have been cut even more aggressively, which practically translates to no wing at all. The rear wing should provide almost zero downforce to the car, but it doesn't come without challenges. Let's not forget the rulebook here. There are structural constraints and regulatory limits on deflection that the rear wing must pass in order to be proclaimed legal. This will be the real challenge for Ferrari's more extreme version. While the technicians tried their best to find a compromise between aerodynamic efficiency and structural integrity, it's yet to be seen how this version of the wing will behave. The track itself should suit Ferrari much better than what we've seen so far. But what are the drivers' hopes for it? While the weekend in Zandvoort was one to forget for both Ferrari and Hamilton, the Monegasque driver promised one thing. 2. 0% will be invested from his side in order to repeat the success from last year. The connection that Leclerc has with the Ferrari fans is huge. Speaking on it, he said, "I discovered that in Italian, just like in French, people say there's no 2 without 3. And I hope that the third win can come this year. We will give 0% to try and repay the incredible passion that this amazing crowd gives us every single year." But reality needs to be looked directly in the eye. The deficit to McLaren is just too big. On top of that, McLaren has 2 cars ahead, whereas Hamilton's potential best starting position could be P6, and that's if he qualifies on pole. Realistically, it's highly likely he'll start somewhere between 10 and 15, which is not a good place to be in Monza, ahead of the double sausage curb and turns 1 and 2. Obviously, the motivation to deliver top performance in front of their own fans will be through the roof. But Piastri and Norris are currently in a league outside of everyone's reach. That fact itself doesn't discourage Ferrari at all. Fred Vasseur spoke about the goals ahead of Monza, elaborating further. As every year, We are eagerly looking forward to hitting the track at Monza, especially so just a few days after Zandvoort, which didn't deliver the results we'd hoped for, even if we demonstrated that we had the race pace to do well. For the entire team, being surrounded by the passion of our tifosi is an incredible motivation to put our hearts into everything we do. That motivation will obviously fuel a legendary drive from Hamilton if the car and circumstances allow him to extract every bit of performance from it. If we're being honest, Ferrari has focused more or less on tracks requiring less downforce because they've shown strong top speed throughout the season. That means Monza itself shouldn't be too tricky to handle. If we see Leclerc and Hamilton fighting for pole position, we shouldn't be too surprised. The real challenge will be execution. According to Fred Vasseur, this is what his team must deliver perfectly. We are aiming to give our very best to repay them for their constant support. However, in order to do that, we need to put emotions aside and focus on ensuring that we execute the weekend to the best of our ability. From the very first lap of free practice right through to the final lap of the race, over the course of the season we've made progress in terms of competitiveness. But with such a closely matched field, we must be flawless to get the results we're aiming for. It's going to be a very crucial weekend for Ferrari because they owe their fans a lot. For